Yo, what up folks, MTG here, and it would be rude to leave it too long before I posted a Explorer deck tech with the new Toxic mechanic. We got Poison in Explorer / Pioneer, and I'm excited to play with it. And so we have green, white, or Celestia Toxic here. Let's get into the list. So, creatures. We've got 3 creatures I'm happy with, and 1 creature that I'm a bit less happy with. So, the ones that I'm happy with, firstly, Venerated Rust Priest is excellent. Green for a 1/2. Toxic 1, whenever a creature you control becomes the target of a spell, target opponent gets a pointless counter. Importantly, that's your spells and your opponents, and this is kind of where we're building the deck around. We'll go through all the 1-mana spells you see here in a moment. Another card we're happy with, Skrelv, Defector Might, 1 mana for a 1/1, has that kind of Mother Rune style ability. Phyrexian white tap, choose a color. Another target creature you control gains Toxic 1 and Hexproof from that color until end of turn. It can't be blocked by creatures of that color this turn. Nice, gives you a way to protect your creatures and then also push through damage and poison counters. Note that Toxic 1 does stack with Toxic they already have. It can't block, but then is legendary, which is unfortunate because when you draw 2, you want to scream. Sometimes they die, hey. It being an artifact actually means that Karn does turn it off, which is just another thing to curse at Karn for, I guess. Cool. So Venerated Priest, great. Skrelv, great. The third creature I'm super happy about is a Bloated Contaminator. This is a 3 mana 4/4, so already fairly undercosted. Has Trample, Toxic 1, and then whenever it does damage to player, Proliferate. We have a couple of things that spread counters around, but you're largely just going to be proliferating their life total. And so, yeah, Contaminate is great, fairly undercosted, pretty beefy. Attacks through. Trample means that you're almost always going to get the counters with Toxic. And so, yeah, and Proliferate obviously finishes them off faster. The one creature that we're a little less happy about, but it's kind of the next best creature in green and white, is Slaughterstinger. And it has a lot of upside, but it is very awkward in matchups where your opponent has lots of spot removal. Green-white for a 2/2. Toxic 2, great, excellent. Putting 2 poison counters on. Whenever another creature you control attacks, it gets plus 1% on the turn to turn. And so often we'll let your Rot Priest or potentially your Skrelv attack through for damage in the early game. Beefs up the Contaminators or other copies of itself. The problem with it really is that it's 2 mana, and you have a bunch of 1 mana like kind of protection. And then for that 2 mana, you're not getting like a ton. Bloated Contaminator is a bit more beefy, obviously paying another mana, but it's like much harder to deal with in theory for a lot of decks. And so Slaughterstinger can be a little awkward in some matchups. It is still pretty good. So we've got 16 creatures, and then we've got a pile of spells. So we'll start off with March of the Burgeoning Life, which has been touted pretty highly with Venerated Rot Priest. Green X, as the initial cost to cast it, you can exile green cards from your hand to make it cost you cheaper. And choose target creature with mana value less than X. Important to note that it's less than, not less than or equal to. Search your library for a creature card with the same name, and then put it onto the battlefield tapped. So you use March to target your Rot Priest, give your opponent a poison counter, then get another Rot Priest, and then the next one will do it again for more poison counters, etc, etc, etc. So it's a great way to kind of like stack a bunch of triggers up here, finding extra Rot Priest. Sometimes you'll find a Slaughterstinger to get you some good attacks. Sometimes you get a Contaminator just to, finish your opponent off. Alright, so that's the first of the sorcery. The other thing that we should go into is Show of Confidence. And this is kind of the quote-unquote combo, in that 1 and a white instant, when you cast it, copy for each other instant sorcery spell you cast this turn. You may choose new targets for the copies. And then put a plus 1 counter target creature against Vigilance turn to turn. And so you are trying to cast 1 mana instant sorceries, and then cast Show of Confidence, and then it kind of goes Storm, the number of cards you play before it, number of instant sorceries you play before it, and then each of those copies will then trigger Venerated Rot Priest along with the original. So say you cast like 2 Defiant Strikes and Show of Confidence, you're getting a trigger off the first Defiant Strike, a trigger off the second Defiant Strike, and then you cast this, get 2 more copies, and you're getting 5 triggers total, as well as like all the actual like effect of the cards. So it's a kind of Storm element. It is a little bit expensive, mana wise. It's mana intensive, but very, very powerful. And so along with this, we have a bunch of other interaction. At 2, we've got Shijiri Shelter, kind of taking advantage of the spell lands here. Protection's great. Hey, awesome, excellent, excellent. We have a single copy of Vast with Fortification. Again, spell land, but just puts a plus 1 counter. It's a trigger. Sometimes it protects your creature or allows you to kind of like get a beneficial block or attack in. But it's quote unquote a little free. Then we have 4 copies of Defiant Strike that I mentioned earlier. Simply Target creature gets performance of its own turn, and cantrips. Cantrips super, super important. We want to cast a bunch of these like kind of like cheap spells to get our Rot Priest triggers, and being able to just cantrip and draw more cards to then get more triggers is excellent. We have the other two cards of cantrip here. Charge Through. Obviously, Bloated Contaminator already has Trample, but Charge Through can give you other creatures Trample to push through extra damage, and has that draw a card stapled onto it too. We have Homestead Courage, which is kind of like 2 spells in 1. Puts a counter on top creature control against Vigilance on a turn, and has Flashback. Rack up counters, rack up spell triggers. Again, like find ways to push damage through, and then also obviously in combination with the Trample on Blue Contaminator is pretty strong anyway, so those you just kill your opponent with normal damage, and the Proliferate actually proliferates the counters too, which is excellent. 4 copies of Blossoming Defense for protection. I messed around a little bit with Tamir Safekeeping, and it's okay. Like this is the ratio of kind of I've come to in terms of spells. There are some other options as well that could be worth trying out. This is where I'm at the moment. And yeah, this is where we are. Land-wise, because you have all these like 1-mana spells, and you need to be able to cast like varying combinations of them, you can't really play colorless land. So I've not got a copy of the colorless land that makes 1/1 toxic creatures, though it could be okay. I just didn't want to risk it. And also to that end, we've got basically all the green-white fast lands. So Temple Garden, Razorverge Thicket, Brushland, and Branchcliff Pathway, all 4 of them, and then 1 each of Passaggio with Django, with a Plains and a Forest to find if need be. 20 lands in total. We have some more expensive cards on our sideboard, but generally the curve of the deck is very low. Into the sideboard. Firstly, one of my most played cards in Modern, because I love these kind of creature combo decks. Shaper's Sanctuary. Whenever a creature you control becomes a target of spell or ability, this one is unfortunately in opponent controls. You may draw a card. Again, like you've got a bunch of protection interaction. You can rack up cards, which you can use with Rot Priest, find your more creatures, does everything. Slices, dices. Rest in peace for some graveyard hate. We have 3 copies of Skrelv's Hive versus mid-range and control decks, where you want a harder to deal with kind of like more long-lasting threat that just keeps pumping out tokens to keep attacking your opponent with. And then we have a couple of Fragmentizers for early interaction with artifacts and enchantments. 2 Light of Hope, which kind of, again, is a bit of a Swiss Army knife. That counter ability means that you can trigger Rot Priest, get counters, target creatures, use as a pump spell, but also, hey, hits troublesome enchantments, and then also occasionally that game 4 life ability comes up, but not very often. But versus aggro decks, you could potentially bring in because you don't have a ton there. Speaking of aggro decks, we have the Wandering Emperor, 2 copies. Again, we're at 20 lands plus the 2 double-face cards, and so it is reasonable to play the more expensive cards here. But 2 copies of Wandering Emperor versus aggro, and then 2 copies of Vivian Monster's Aid, kind of the army in a can for 5 mana, versus those mid-range control decks, which is a little expensive, but we run it. And with that being said, let's hop into some ranked games. We will hop into some best of 3 ranks, and please do subscribe for more Explorer stuff. I really appreciate the support. That'd be awesome. Thank you. See you in ranked. Yeah, I figured I'd start with Obliterator, the Rakdos list that I posted today. Check that out if you're interested. But I wanted a little bit more time to think around to find out where I was at with Toxic, but I couldn't leave it too long before posting a Toxic deck, I feel like. Owe it to the set. Decided to start with green-white, like Selesnya, but have I think a Simic list that I'm going to try at some point in the future. Maybe in a week or so. Should have a Hammer that's coming out tomorrow. That's the other deck that I was like, this is obviously a home run. This is interesting. Opponents on the play, we've not got a 1-drop. We have a March, bunch of interaction, but with this coming down on turn 3, it's actually kind of awkward. Do we keep this? We're on the draw. I think we'll roll with it. The Lightning Bolt sleeves might be a bad sign. Oh, they're mulligans. That's a Swamp, though. And a Shambling Gas. Okay, this could be interesting. Okay, I'm happy to see the Slaughter Stinger. Slaughter Stinger. It sings. It's kind of jamming out. We'll take damage here. Double Swamp. I have to sort of assume that they could still be on like Black-Red Sacrifice. Okay, we've not drawn an extra land. Given our hand, we want green sources over white sources, though it's pretty close. We'll He was singing. I'm expecting some kind of sacrifice draw cards effect here. And hopefully they... Oh, they may just have a removal spell. That's also kind of okay. We're not in a position, given the lands we have, that we can really afford to kind of wait till we have availability in these interaction spells. This at least doesn't get just fatal pushed. But I am kind of like, oh, I don't want to expose it. We'll see. I'm not blocking, and ideally get to untap with it, and then we've got some stuff going on. Right, there is an oven. Well, fortunately that's trample. They're gonna try some shenanigans. Alright, the answer is not really. They're not really gonna try any shenanigans. I think I kind of wanna... We need to do this before doing this. Okay, I got 2 green cards from my hand. It's almost worth it. We get a copy here. Almost worth it. It means pitching like one of these in a Blossoming Defense. They have 3 cards. I actually feel okay about this. And yeah, you have to pay 1 more than what you're copying. And so we're here risking a little bit. We're just neg-2ing ourselves. I'll go to yeah. Got to combat with this. I should have probably homesteaded it first. I'd rather use the homestead here than have to. So this is forcing. This is like 5 damage. I will just do this. If they have the second fatal push, they can trigger it later. We'll get some damage through this way anyway. The other thing is that in terms of regular damage, this would have actually been a good reason to cast the Homestead Courage first. But also, we kind of want to hold it for Venerated Rock Priest where possible. Is that we could prefer the counters here and just kill them with normal damage, potentially. They're just going to scoop it up. So, into game 2. Playing best of 3 ranks here. So, I think I want the rips. Am I interested in anything else? I should bring in the fragmentizers. Okay, cool. It's largely a case of, because our creatures are, like, we have 16 creatures, we can't really afford to cut them. Like, you could cut a Skrelv. It being legendary is actually super awkward. Drawing 2 is the worst a lot of the time. But it's largely a case of working out which of your interaction spells is worse. I'm still... Show confidence is like the gimmick. Show when you cast it, copy it for each other's instant sorcery you cast this turn. You may choose new targets for the copies, and then puts counters on your creatures. But then importantly, the copies trigger Venerated Rock Beast. That's kind of the combo. So I'm actually going to cut down a couple of these, I think. These are all pretty relevant. Courage gets a little worse post board. I think I'm going to go down 2 copies of Confidence. And 2 copies of the Fight Strike. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. Yeah, the reason why I'm saying it's awkward is that it's just a lot of mana. It's like you want to cast a bunch of spells and then cast this 2 mana instant, and it's great when it works, but is often a little funky in your hand. This is a bit like the last one. Again, we're on the draw. We got the protection. We got 4 lands, which is almost like a mulligan already. So I actually think I want to ship this one back. I guess. Okay. This is the exact opposite, pretty much. We'll keep 6 here. I almost want to throw a land back. Just because the way this lines are. I don't really want to check our creatures away, because they might just have another chock full hand of removal again. He immediately hit our 3rd land. Okay. We'll see. Skrelv kind of forces the issue with Fatal Push. The other thing is that in this matchup, where they're playing like Cauldron Familiar, the life total does matter. more than some other places. It is like an aggro deck in that you can't get too low because I'll just be able to bun you out. Maybe a thicket. I'm just going to play as an attack. And if they have fatal push, they have fatal push. They'll use it like now anyway, likely. But I'm not too worried. Alright. So here we have Slaughter Singer and Double March. We already have one Slaughter Singer in hand. We could play no, we need to play for 3. Oh, I think it's worth kind of holding up some Desert Protection. I'm gonna cast a Singer and look to basically just hit with this one. Now that we have Scrub active, they have to burn a removal spell on that to start killing other things. They've still got the actual Cauldron. Well, we actually know that we don't have another protection spell. I'm just gonna pay white. No, server, no, please. No, server, no, please. I can see it. There we go. Right. All works out, all works out. That was scary. This also adds another layer of toxics. This is 3 instead of... Which makes Grove pretty busted. And they're going to scoop it up. Alright, alright. Well, I guess I'll see you in match number 2. Alright, into second match here. The opponent's on. Obviously is very early on in the month, so I've not really been... And I've not really been playing a ton since that's just come out in Arena. So I'm in gold at the minute, so it's kind of a bit of a chaos lottery for what we come up against. We'll see here. We've got our 2 lands, Rot Priest, Determinator. Looks fairly solid. Obviously, fatal push decks can be quite awkward. You've got a bunch of kind of 1-mana creatures that you'd like to play on turn 1, but hey. And potentially post-board, if you know what you're up against, you would maybe leave to turn 2 if you've got protection for them. So like here we've got the Blossoming Defense. I'm going to roll this out because we need it down on turn 1 versus something like this matchup versus Mono Green. And so here we have an interesting decision. We don't have a ton of interaction for what they're doing. We could potentially go and march, exile the Cultivator to get another creature, but on the play I actually kind of want to play this. The other option is that we go march, exile the Blossoming Defense, which is versus green is pretty tempting, just because they are not going to have lots of like targeted interaction. And so I think I am actually going to do that. We're going to go grab another Rot Priest here. Alright, cool. And then I will go planes and we'll cast the Homestead Courage now before it attacks. Hey, maybe the damage matters, but we get some triggers too. They're already taking some poison. I'm looking to follow this up next time with the Contaminator, or depending on what we draw, maybe something even better. Paradise Druid, not doing a ton of work for them. We could just like leave. We could. Trying to work out like so we could attack with both of these. We do still have the Homestead Courage, but not tons of other targeting effects. They're gonna have. Oh, they kept a 1-land hand. Ooh. In that case, I definitely don't mind just attacking into the Paradise Druid and making the Bloated Contaminator. If they want to block, they kind of just are doomed. So it's a kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. Alright, I'll snap it off. Take some poison. We're going to go We may as well keep the Besieger in hand, but go green source into Contaminator here. Okay, Ogre Troll is basically the best draw here. We have Forest. We have the option to, on their upkeep, Besieger the Troll if they block. Which seems decent. I'll Courage onto the Contaminator. Getting 3. I was trying to work out the masses. We'll just attack with this. No need to put the Rock Priest under the bus. They're actually going to take that hit. So maybe they have Nykthos in hand. Cool. I can put counters on these. Oops, sorry. I just deselected them. I'll be a little careful. And then I will, I guess, say... I'll play the Forest. Yeah, I put the stop on because I thought they'd block with the Ogre Troll and didn't want to forget. Alright. Go to sideboarding then. So versus green, I think I want the Fragmentizers. I think I want the Light of Hopes just to interact with like Wolfeather Haven. There's a couple of other things I can have. There's not a ton that we've got bringing in for this matchup. The copies of Light of Hope are a little narrow, but are one of some of the only ways you actually have to interact with what they're doing. There are a couple of fight spells that you can actually play. I didn't really want to pack any of the sideboard and end up cutting the couple that I had in the main. But that is an option. I kind of wish you'd go full snow and then play the snow fight spell, but that's just not possible given what you're trying to do here. So, Blossoming Defense, mostly, isn't really preventing much targeting versus green. And I'm just trying to think if there's anything I like less. This is solid. Like, sometimes defense lets you get through some creatures, but generally, they're going to be a lot bigger than you at a certain point anyway. It's like, okay, they've got Cavalier down, we're just going to attack through that. Unless, of course, we have Skrelv, and that protection from green is actually super important. There was a point where I had a couple of Sejiri shelters in the deck, which also contributed to that kind of just stop you from blocking plan. Alright. This looks solid. We've got a curve. We've also got the Show of Confidence, which I'm pretty excited to play. And so, yeah. Roll this out. They have a Land or Elf start. We don't have an interact. I should probably... Now I'm thinking about it, I should probably have some number of portable holes in our sideboard. But even like versus green, they're a little awkward. They do catch both the Elf and the Haven. So, probably worthwhile. Something to look at. They have a very fast start with Cura then. I wonder if they have a second mana creature. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. This from here, so maybe they do. Okay. We're gonna shock this in. I kind of do want to draw a card here. We could put some damage on the Cura, but I don't want to roll with that. It just depends what payoff they have. We don't really have interaction for anything what they're doing, so we should just try and maximize our own. The other thing about Skrelv in this matchup is that, apart from the unblockable, you're not really worried about protecting yourself from creatures. Karn can be awkward, for sure. We definitely want to draw a land here. So we don't even have a Rot Priest for the Show of Confidence at the moment. We'll see. Okay. Cavalier's big. But again, Skrelv does a pretty good job there. What are we working with? Okay, so we didn't hit a land, but we did hit a Slaughter Stinger. Okay. How do you feel about this? 5, 6, 7. They're going to be able to really make a lot of mana next turn. From 1 poison, this would deal 3. Then there'd be 2 turns away. We don't have much else going on. I think we do want to play the other Slaughter Stinger out. Slaughter Stinger out. Let's pay life here. Give this for a green. And we'll go to face. I'm going to reason about normal damage as well. Land or Rot Priest would be okay. Rot Priest would be really nice because we're going to start getting completely walled off from our attacks. And 3 a turn might not make it, especially if they have Khan to go to it for like a Ratchet Bomb. That's another danger, really. But we'll see, we'll see. Alright, Necklace activation. They do have a Khan. Do they have a Ratchet Bomb? Do they tutor for it? Have they got anything else? Like Silex is also pretty miserable. There's a few options that are problematic. What are we gonna go get? That's good. I wonder if they kill a Singer with it. Surely they kill the Might, right? Just stops us being able to attack. You'd think. Yeah, Might goes bye-bye. That's at least respect our opponent a little bit. No attacks though. Okay, so no... So with this Slaughter Singer, these both attack as 4/4s? Isn't great. This can crew and block. We're still racking up damage. The problem is this is going to crit attack, really. Because we're going to be in range one way or the other. Can we win without a land being on top of our library? That's a good question. I don't think so. Let's hope there is one. There wasn't. Okay, I think we are just dead to console, plus they can Khan with a million mana again next turn. We don't have good attacks here. If we had Rot Priest or we had the third land, I think we get there maybe. Like we go Slaughter Singer. The thing is, we go Slaughter Singer there, get to attack him with 2 creatures. They get to block one of them. Either block one on the elf or take some poison, and they untap, kill us down to 1 Slaughter Singer. It's pretty bad. Is that a reason to keep some copies of Blossoming Defense in? Because the shelter gives proof as well. Sorry, not hexproof. Gives unblockable as well. It makes sense. I think this is right. I think this is right. Let's run back up. Game 3. Game 3. On the play as well is also, of course, huge. Play first. If Scroll 4 lands. Oh. Really want more spells. Scroll is really good here, but we need, like, only with another creature. I'm gonna go to 5. We hit 1 land here. We'll keep this. We actually have the Vastwood Fortification as well. Charge through on the bottom. Let's at least draw us a card. I think we do this. This is the best we can ask for. We've got green. We still play the Rot Priest on someone, I think. If we draw a land, we can use this fortification. We already have 4 spells in our hand. This is so many poison counters already. We do have an elf, which is fair. I don't think they want to block, and so I'm gonna just do these now. Okay. We are sort of all in. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. Oh, he has fortification plus charging next turn. They have the troll, but like we're still getting. We're not actually getting poison counters through. Also, now we kind of want to play a land. Even though this is coming out a turn after. Me. Oh, we can't even double spell these. Yeah, fair. I should probably just main phase this. We'll think about it. I don't think there's anything I draw that makes me want to attack here, but hey. Let's see what's up. 4 Aura. Ugh. Ew. Fringe. But it maybe changes the rest of what we want to do. Okay. Yeah. It's still tough. I guess you have to remember this is also a mulligan to 5. This is a pretty decent mulligan to 5, but it's still a mulligan to 5. I'm going to do this now because currently I've got nothing I want to cast on my next turn. Hey, look at this. Get a poison counter, cantrip. Love that. Oh, this is interesting. Yeah, I think we should do... it just depends if they have Khan. If this is Khan, this is... If they have Khan, this is way worse. Yeah. An underrated interaction. And now a Skrull doesn't do anything, sadly. It's pretty tough. Khan is very good, but hey. Alright. We had a valiant attempt with a multi 5, but Portal to Phyrexia will seal it up. Okay, okay. Alright, we're 1-on-1. Let's I'll catch you in the next game. Peace out. Alright, third match. A bit of a rough one versus green, to be honest. But hey, again, we have a valiant attempt on a multi 5. We get to be on the play here. Opt to do that. You know, one time you got to keep one of these 4-land hands. Mulliganing to Oblivion every time isn't fun. Even if not doing anything for the first 3 turns is also not very fun. Yeah. The weird one. For Homestead Courage, you want 2 white sources, but we've got plenty of white sources, but we have slightly more green spells, I think. Oh, the Sign in Blood literally free here. We're killing them with poison counters. Do we have a protection spell for this? We do not. And so I'm going to play it out. Yeah. I think so. I think if I have a Blossoming Defenses, because I've waited this on to play a creature, I wait at this point. Then also you run the risk of them just drawing into like a Thoughtseize randomly on turn, whatever. Alright, nice. This is what we actually want. I guess we're like closing in on like an OTK. Really? Going what? One next turn if we play it, we go play it, Homestead. Well, if we untap with it, it's also a pretty sick story. Why did I not just... Alright, well, we'll use that white mana to Homestead Courage now. We'll save 1 for the friends at home. Don't mind me. The big one is Liliana. I actually do quite like the 3 mana make tokens card, but it's just awkward for your curve. Okay. Interesting. We'll lead with this because it's a sorcery. There's an instance. Sure. I mean, they're not dead. But, hey. They do take a bunch. Which is the point. Liliana is the one card I wanted to not see last time. So you managed to sign the blood into it. That's fair. You've got the Contaminator. This is why the budgeting is so important, just so you've got more. If you get to burgeoning and then do that, then that is just game. Alright, they've got plenty of cards to this card because they've been. And Invoke Despair is so good. Okay. That's funny. Alright, well. We do lose this as a fight strike to Liliana. This is, I guess, not our greatest matchup. But I'd like to draw a card, but I don't want to draw a card that badly, maybe. Yeah. We kept a pretty threat light hand. Sometimes that's the price to pay to play Magic, I guess. I'm just gonna let this discard, because I'm gonna discard whatever we draw into anyway. No point in just taking two for no reason. Now they've got down ticks on Liliana, I think there's no chance. Let's go to game 2. Okay. Kept it like a bit of a loose hand there. Obviously not doing anything over the first few turns of the game is pretty rough. Thoughtseize is going to be pretty punishing. Liliana, obviously excellent. We've only got one creature. We're going to bring in the Spell Slaves. This is what we're about here. And then we've got fairly flooded there. We're going to bring in the Vivians. None of the other stuff I'm particularly interested in. Let's see. The protection spells are great. The cards that, like, say, target creature are a bit worse. Like, the ones that aren't protecting you. We keep in the fortification, we keep in the shelter, obviously the protection is great. We keep in the bottom defenses, but these, like, charge throughs, pretty poor. Opponent's not playing very many creatures. And then these Defiant Strikes are actually pretty bad here. And Homestead Courage is kind of a nice thing to throw away. So I think these are good. I'm trying to work out how I feel about the March Burgeonings. I think we're still gonna roll with them. Actually, sorry, these Show of Confidences get way worse. Let's do this. So Show of Confidence is like a nice like combo piece in theory, and if you have a couple of Rot Priests out, or you can go 2 for a Rot Priest with a second Rot Priest with Burgeoning and do that, then it's very very strong. Obviously, because if you're exiling green card from your hand for the March of Burgeoning, then you are only paying 1 mana for it, and so it kind of fits quite nicely together. But it being a 2-mana instant in your deck of 1-mana instants is pretty awkward. The no land hand is also pretty awkward. This one we will keep. Let me just bomb the Homestead Courage here. I like everything else they've got going on. They might have some rats, but the Skrells have kind of plays around that a bit. As long as they don't get to take it. We'll lead off with the Might. Try and get that online. Isn't, if nothing else, a great Fatal Push Magnet. There is the push. I'm going to make Hive now, just in case they just draw into Thoughtseize. And then we'll Rot Priest with some more friends maybe later on. The nice thing about Mono Black is that they have no answers for this, in theory. Unless they're playing, like, some mystery card package we didn't see, or something like that. Okay. Great times. I think I am just gonna wait until I have a land for this stuff, to go Rot Priest into March. I don't see any reason to commit to the board yet. This is something sick. They could go like 3 Liliana down tick now, but that'd be pretty awkward. Trespasser. Interesting. Alright, we didn't see creatures last game, we're gonna see creatures here. Fair enough, fair enough. Let's then we'll make another one of those. Would like a land really. This does wall us off a bit. We can attack fairly freely. We're I'm trying to work out where I am with the Rot Priest. Or if we want to, in fact, start attacking. I think we wait another turn. For everything. Does accelerate the clock here, but we can cast a couple of spells to flip it back. No problem. over the course of the game, you should draw enough lands to cast Vivian. That's the plan. At least. We'll see, we'll see. Alright. Second Trespasser could be pretty rough, eh? Okay. That's in. Alright, now both these can attack. Are they thinking about responding to something? Alright, we got a land. Which I like, because it means we can play this Rock Priest and be able to march onto it straight away. This is also an instant, which is pretty sweet. I think, given everything, I'm gonna attack with these two. Just start getting some point counters on there. Otherwise, we're at 10. We are dead soon. Wish we could. Enough pump to get through here, but we do not. Actually, I think I should do this now so that they flip back. They're one poison. Okay. It's like we could do this for 0. And then make 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. We'll do this. We'll play it somewhat fairly. This is 1. Oh, they have the fatal push a response. Okay. Well, this is what we were afraid of to begin with. Okay. So they're going to flip back. We're not immediately dead. Good. I wonder how many of these creatures are in the main deck. Or if they maybe like, I don't know, I don't see them sideboarding into Misery Shadow against us, so I think these are probably all just in the main. We shouldn't see any of the creatures game 1. They don't need to play any. We are close to getting Vivian in. These cannot block. We are just close. And this is also chipping away. Let's cantrip through here. So I don't think the Scrub's Hive is good, but I think our draw's pretty miserable. Oh, okay. Yeah. That's GG's. That's a little rough. That's a little rough. I think that like one more like really good toxic card would do it. But yeah, I think we've been a little unfortunate with how we've drawn these games, with mulligans and stuff. Let's see. Looking at the deck, and I also had, I forgot to mention before, but I do have a Simic list that I wanted to try out as well, messing around with some more unblockable stuff. I really wish we had Slip Through Space from Oath the Gatewatch, which is the blue Tug Creatures Unblockable draw card. It's something I'm actually currently playing in my Modern Infect list, which I think I'll also post in a couple of weeks. Or in a week or so. I'm currently waiting on my Rock Priests to arrive in paper. Yeah. Interesting. Like the thing is I think are decent. The Show of Confidence is a bit slow and clunky, but it's like a nice kind of combo to work through. I think Rock Priest and Scarf have impressed me a ton. Obviously, the deck's a little vulnerable to removal, which is, of course, it's going to be. But we mitigate that a little bit in the sideboard Shaper Sanctuary. Yeah. I think we did mulligan a little harshly here. But hey, GG's. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you got any sick Infect tech, or if there's anything else you want to see in the comments. Please do subscribe if you haven't already, and have a great day. Peace out.